Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the absolutely fascinating professional journey of Pramda Singh. We aren't just looking at a standard run-of-the-mill resume here. We're really going to dive into the anatomy of a truly versatile Agile professional. By reverse engineering her background, we're going to see exactly what it takes to orchestrate complex technical projects in today's super fast-paced, highly distributed work environments. 14 plus years. Think about that for a second. That is a massive amount of time in the tech space. That's how long Pramda has been in the arena, continuously refining the art of agile delivery, resource management, and human resources. 14 years means she hasn't just witnessed industry shifts, she's actively navigated them, adapting and growing her toolkit every single step of the way. So to really understand her unique value, we're going to break her career down across 5 key stages. First, meet the Agile leader. Second, mastering Scrum at Siemens. Third, global resources at Dell. Fourth, the HR foundation. And finally, tools and core skills. All right, jumping right in. Section 1, meet the Agile leader. 14 plus years of cross-functional expertise. When you're looking for an Agile leader, you really want someone who blends that theoretical knowledge with hard-earned, on-the-ground grit. And Pramda absolutely has that. She holds top-tier credentials as a certified Scrum Master or CSM, and she's a Prince 2 practitioner. This is a big deal. It means she's anchoring all that practical experience with formal, globally recognized methodologies. She doesn't just know how to run a meeting, right? She understands the deeply researched frameworks that actually drive successful project outcomes. Looking at this macro timeline, you can really see her deliberate evolution. Back in 2010, she started out in human resources, essentially learning the fundamental building blocks of team dynamics. Then, by 2014, she transitioned over to global resource management, mastering logistics and stakeholder alignment. And then by 2023, she stepped into the Scrum Master role at Siemens. It's honestly just a perfect, logical progression, from understanding people to managing global resources to ultimately leading Agile transformations. Let's move on to Section 2, Mastering Scrum at Siemens, leading global Agile teams. Operating at the peak of Agile delivery from 2023 to 2024, the sheer scale of her responsibility is what really stands out to me. She wasn't just managing a single local team sitting in one room together. She was leading multiple cross-functional Agile teams distributed all the way across Germany and India. Bridging those complex, geographically distributed units requires a leader who can seamlessly navigate different time zones and cultural nuances without ever dropping the ball on project delivery. And how exactly did she keep those global teams so aligned? Well, by being an absolute master of the framework. She didn't just throw around Agile buzzwords, she actively facilitated these 5 critical Scrum ceremonies. From aligning goals in sprint planning and daily Scrums, to refining the backlog, presenting in sprint reviews, and finding those key improvements in retrospectives. She utilized these very steps to turn chaotic requirements into beautifully structured, customer-focused solutions. But here's the real kicker. One of her most crucial roles was acting as a true servant leader. She was literally acting as a shield, actively removing external impediments and scope creep so her teams could just focus, maximize their productivity, and truly own their deliverables. Plus, she went totally above and beyond by coaching product owners and facilitating high-level portfolio management workshops. Let's rewind a bit. Section 3, Global Resources at Dell, orchestrating delivery at scale. Seeing that level of organizational mastery, you're probably wondering, how on earth did she build the stakeholder management and logistical chops required for that elite Scrum delivery? Well, the answer is right here. 8 years. Her massive 8-year tenure as a resources manager at Dell EMC2 in Pune, starting in 2014. 8 years at a tech giant like Dell is practically a masterclass in enterprise-scale operations. This brilliantly illustrates her logistical prowess. Just look at the regions she was juggling simultaneously. She was handling resource allocation and bench management for the Asia-Pacific, Japan, and EMEA regions, all while streamlining processes for the Americas. She was constantly negotiating with delivery managers, tapping into this massive global network to pinpoint the exact right resource for project managers. It's basically a giant high-stakes puzzle, ensuring complex project timelines were met by expertly aligning global talent pools across multiple time zones. Which brings us to a really key competency she developed during this time: demand forecast analysis. This means she wasn't just reacting to fires, she was analyzing incoming requirements to prioritize fulfillment ahead of time. It was her way of ensuring projects were perfectly staffed, maximizing efficiency without burning out her teams. It's fascinating because this translates so seamlessly into agile capacity planning later on. For anyone building a team, this is exactly why cross-functional backgrounds are an absolute game changer. Okay, let's peel back one final layer. Section 4, the HR Foundation, the roots of empathetic leadership. So where did her deep intuitive understanding of team dynamics and conflict resolution originally come from? Between 2010 and 2014, Pramda actually built her foundational career in human resources. She worked as a senior recruitment assistant at ACS, a Xerox company, and then as an HR executive at Mayflower Language Services. Over those 4 years, she mastered the entire employee lifecycle, everything from recruitment and onboarding to payroll, background checks, and most importantly, employee satisfaction. When we contrast her early career with her current state, I absolutely love this organic evolution. You might not immediately connect the two, but the deep empathy and communication skills required to onboard and support new employees, that naturally evolved into the servant leadership required to coach teams and remove impediments in Scrum. Her early days handling human challenges laid a rock-solid foundation for agile leadership, where individuals and interactions are valued above mere processes. And we can see that these were definitely not just standard admin tasks. She was already acting as a transformation agent, increasing efficiency by bringing in new HRMS tools, organizing in-house training programs that laid the exact groundwork for her future agile coaching sessions. And executing manpower planning and budgeting effortlessly translates into the agile capacity planning she would rely on as a Scrum Master. It's all connected. Let's bring it all together in Section 5. Tools and core skills, the Agile Leader's Toolkit. So how does this 14-year building block journey culminate into a modern skill set? Because let's face it, a great leader doesn't just have soft skills. They need the technical chops to actually operate in today's software environments. This breakdown perfectly captures her versatility today. She has this incredibly strong core of Agile and Scrum methodologies, but that core is supported equally by technical software proficiency on one side and essential soft skills like stakeholder alignment and conflict management on the other. It is a perfectly balanced profile. Looking at her specific technical fluency, it is exceptionally broad. Whether she's tracking complex issues in Jira, maintaining critical documentation in Confluence, or managing development pipelines in Azure DevOps, she has the exact technical vocabulary needed to collaborate deeply with engineering teams and product owners alike. She speaks their language. And speaking of languages, supporting all this global communication is her linguistic versatility. She boasts a highly proficient C2 level in English alongside her native Hindi. But what's especially cool is her foundational A1 German. She didn't just learn it for fun. She actively utilized it to coordinate with those teams based in Erlangen, Germany for Siemens. She literally bridges communication gaps. And of course, anchoring this entire trajectory of professional growth is her Bachelor of Science degree from Shayats in Allahabad, earned back between 2007 and 2010. That scientific background provided the fundamental analytical and critical thinking foundation that she has applied to every single complex problem across her entire career. So as we wrap up this explainer, we've really seen the full picture, right? From her early roots in HR, mastering the intricacies of human behavior, to her massive global resource orchestration at Dell, all the way up to her elite Scrum leadership at Siemens. So, the ultimate question for any hiring manager looking at Pramda Singh's resume is this. Is your team ready for a leader who has mastered not just the technical delivery of Agile, but the vital human element behind it? Because when you have both, well, that is where true transformation happens.